Hello and welcome to the webinar. Thank you for joining us for today's presentation, The Remote Team, How to Stay Connected in Times of Distance. In this presentation, we will discuss today's new world of remote work, the challenges we are facing, and how we can work together to overcome them. I'm Katie Cummins. I'm an HR consultant with HR Boost. At HR Boost, we believe that every business deserves strategic HR. HR Boost offers services that allow your business to do what it does best. We help companies contain costs, minimize employer risks, and relieve the administrative burden of HR, which creates results that rival your competition. From shared services to project-based to a la carte options, we provide the resources and support you need to optimize your investment in people. HR Boost has effectively been operating a virtual business and collaborative team throughout our nearly 10 years in business, and we've learned a few things along the way. Some of the biggest questions I've been receiving lately are all around remote work. In times of distance, how do we stay connected? How do we learn to not just survive, but actually thrive in these challenging times? If you're looking for new and better ways to operate, collaborate, and strategies to thrive during these times, then stay tuned. During today's presentation, we'll discuss today's world, which looks much different than the world of just a month ago, and what the new world of work now looks like. This new world also presents new opportunities. What do you want to be during this pandemic? Here's your opportunity for self-reflection, assessment, and change. And even though we're all alone, and you may feel isolated, anxious, maybe even a bit scared, we're all in this together. We can do this. We are all leaders, and together we will get through this. I will share tips, strategies, and even a little bit of humor on how to effectively work remotely. It starts with you and then your teams, and how teams can effectively work together as well through building relationships, communication, and other strategies. And finally, a free assessment from our partners at Best Work Data to help you get a deeper understanding of yourself, your manager, and how to effectively work together in this new remote environment. Let's talk about today's world and the new world of work. Never before have we as professionals, business owners, and teams been faced with such challenges as we are today. Our world has completely changed. In a matter of weeks, our world has been turned upside down, and we are all trying to adjust on a personal and professional basis. It's hectic, it's challenging, it's even a little bit scary right now. But let's take a pause to remember where we were at just last month. Just over a month ago, I had a meeting. Turns out it was my last meeting, where I sat down in a conference room with a client, shook hands, and we actually met face to face. In some ways, it feels like forever ago, but it was actually just a month ago. Today, those meetings are taking place via conference call, Zoom, WebEx, other technology, and we're all desperately trying to stay connected and not lose our connection while we're distanced. Suddenly, and practically overnight, our world has changed, and we're now living in a remote world. Remote work has been accelerating over the years, but most of us have not until now been pushed to work virtually. Many companies have rolled out mandatory working from home policies, either as an extension of what was already in place or for the first time in other cases. Today, we're working with teams that have never worked remotely before. We're working with managers who have never managed remotely before, and companies that were never remote before. Companies are frantically putting together policies, trying to secure laptops, leveraging technology or exploring new technology, and trying to establish new ways of working, all of which did not exist that long ago. Let that sink in for a moment. It's okay to feel challenged because, frankly, this is one of the most challenging, if not the most challenging times we have ever faced. The way we work has shifted dramatically and overnight. It's unprecedented. It's dramatic. It's changing the way that we work and the way that we work with each other in ways that we've never experienced before on such a large and global scale. The new remote worker is what we're faced with today. And remote work and remote workers are not built the same. Not everyone will be poised for success during this time. 1 out of 3 remote workers are not going to be successful working from home. They may have been the best at the office, but they will struggle working remotely. There may be hardwired traits or characteristics that they possess that will make it more difficult for them to adapt to change, learn quickly, or perhaps there's social interaction, introverts and extroverts, that bring those characteristics into play. Another 1 out of 3 can be managed easily if you can foresee what their challenges may be, if you can understand what their traits and characteristics are, and how they will adapt and change to a new way of working, a new world of remote work. Remote work has a lot of advantages, but let's not forget today the challenges that come with it, and the challenges that we are facing now, which we have never faced before. It's not just about suddenly working from home, it's about being confined and isolated to your home for extended periods of time. It's about having a spouse or partner who is also trying to work from home, perhaps even in the same space. It's about kids not just being home from school, but having to homeschool them while also trying to work, trying to be productive, trying to raise our children and be the best work selves that we can be, all while we are dealing with a global health pandemic. Take a breath. Give yourself some grace during this time. If you thought this would be easy, think again. But let's find ways that we can make this easier on ourselves and our teams. It might be easy to focus on the negatives, on the challenges, but I see this as an opportunity, and I truly believe there has to be a silver lining from all of this. This is an opportunity, a very unique opportunity for ourselves, our families, our teams, our companies. Fundamentally, what we are going through now and for the next month or so will change the way we work. It brings a unique opportunity in that we have a time for self-reflection and assessment. What do we want to be? Who do we want to be? Where are you at in this stage? It's normal and natural to have fears or anxiety about what's going on in the world. And I myself was in that fear zone at one point in time. But as you go through the pandemic and the process here, where are you moving to? Understanding your emotions, making yourself aware about the situation, letting go of certain things that are frankly just out of your control, and moving towards a growth zone, finding a purpose, how you can help others. What skills do you have or possess that others may need? Living in the present and focusing on the future, showing gratefulness, new ways to adapt to changes, and practicing calmness, patience, relationships, and certainly during right now, a lot of creativity. No matter where you are in your journey, you and your teams can grow. First, tell yourself and your team, we can do this. We're all in this together. We're alone, yes, but we're together. Can we come out of this even better than we were before? Absolutely. We can all help. We can all model the behavior we want to see. Coworkers, managers, we are all leaders. Look at how quickly we are shifting. We are changing, we are pivoting, we are learning, we are adapting, and how quickly we are doing it. Why? Because we have to. I'd like to share some strategies on how you can make the most of remote work. It starts with you and then your teams. Again, we are all leaders. Model the behavior you want to see. If many of you thought that working from home would mean sitting on your couch with your laptop watching Netflix all day, well, unfortunately, think again. You need to set yourself and your teams up for success. The first tip and strategy I have is structure and routine. You need to treat this like a job because, well, it is your job. Don't roll out of bed and join a conference call 4 minutes later. You will not be your best work self in work mode and be able to be productive on that call. You need to set up a workstation or have a dedicated space where you can focus, where it's quiet, where you can actually get work done. This may be the kitchen table and that may be the most practical place for you, but try to have a dedicated space where you can actually focus and get work done. Follow a routine. As tempting as it is to sleep in and stay in your pajamas all day, that's not what you would do at work, and that's not what you should do now. Try to get up around the same time. Get dressed, even if it's sweatpants, and get yourself into work mode. It's especially important when you're joining calls or speaking with colleagues or clients that you're in that work mode mindset and setting. Now, traditionally, there's been an expectations that video calls and meetings from home would need to be just as professional and office-like as you would see when actually in the office. But what we're finding is companies are realizing that it can be difficult with what's going on right now. A kid is going to show up crying, or your dog will start barking during one of your Zoom calls. It's just going to happen. Companies are realizing this, and they're relaxing the constraints around what professional and office-like means. Obviously, you can't walk around in your underwear during a video call, but appropriate rather than office-like is a better way to show understanding of the struggles that everyone is experiencing. Another strategy for remote work, and you really must, set expectations and boundaries. You need to be realistic with your time and manage your day accordingly. If you're juggling homeschooling and work, set realistic expectations both for your children and your teams of when you will be available. Use IMs or chat apps like Slack, or text for more urgent matters of something that needs urgent attention, or have office hours of when you can actually take phone calls. Otherwise, use emails for everything else. Set up those expectations and that boundary and that structure that's going to work for you and your team. And set boundaries with family time, with work time. When you're working from home, the lines of work and home get very blurry. You can't be available 24/7, and it may not be practical to expect that you were working the same 9 to 5 hours before. People will be forgiving and understanding if you are not available during certain times of the day. This is a unique time period, and never before have we experienced this. Spouses may have to split up their workday in shifts to work, take care of children, or homeschool their children while the other parent works. The days at home will not look at the same as the days in the office as they previously were. And experts agree that we need to evaluate workers' performance on outcome of objectives, completion of objectives, work output, accomplishing those goals rather than time-based performance or the office hours or the amount of time that you are actually putting in. Another strategy to focus on is relationships, and relationships are vital to getting things done. They are crucial. It's more challenging to maintain relationships from a distance, yes, but it's still crucial for success. Understanding what you need, what your team needs in order to feel connected is important. Use this time to get a better understanding of each other and broaden and deepen relationships during this time. It can be lonely and very isolating. And frankly, even an introvert will want to see another human being during this time. We need to understand ourselves and each other. What do we need? What do you need? What does our team need? We'll talk about later on in this presentation a free tool that can give you insight into working preferences and what you need to work together, learning your hardwired traits and how you'll adapt to this new world of remote work, especially now. This is a really unique time, but actually the isolation may in some ways bring us together. We're having more video calls. We're actually able to get a sneak peek into people's lives, into their home life, their personal lives. We see their home, we see their families, we see their pets, we see their dogs joining us on these video calls. It's an opportunity for us to share the pain of every day that we're going through, the struggles, frankly, the challenges that we have on a day-to-day basis, the success stories that we've had at the end of the day. Be vulnerable. Now is a time for us to connect on a deeper level in a different way with our coworkers, with our manager, with our colleagues. And that connection can all lead to building further and stronger relationships. There's a sense of team, there's a sense of togetherness of what we're all going through and experiencing right now. It's important to emphasize communication, and communication is key, especially right now. There's no right or wrong way to communicate. You just need to keep communication lines open. An appropriate level of communication between employees and managers should certainly be spelled out, including expectations of availability, responsiveness, what modes of communication are going to be used. Again, are you using IMs and texts for more urgent matters, emails for everything else? Do you have times of office hours when it would be better to make or receive calls? You need to set those expectations and understand how you're going to communicate. When you're not meeting in person, you need to have those processes for how you're going to collaborate and communicate. That's key. And consider what types of communication tools are going to work best. We're going to communicate in different ways. We're going to be meeting in different ways. Different communication strategies might be in place for a one-on-one meeting with your manager versus an all-hands meeting, a team meeting, a company meeting, or employee learning and development. There may be different strategies of communication for each of those activities. But having consistent and routine communications is going to be key. Continue with those regular standing meetings if you have them. Move them virtually if you can. Continue to hold those regular meetings for updates as an opportunity for everyone to get together and share. Have an agenda, have a topic, have a purpose of why you're meeting, but still continue to hold those. Perhaps consider lunch and learns or other opportunities where everyone can come together, and also be flexible with that time where you may need to adjust accordingly based on everyone's preferences and availability to meet. Technology, use it, any form, any and all forms of technology. Technology can certainly be your friend during this time. Any tool will work. I often get asked, what's the best tool? What's the best tool out there that we should be using? Well, the best tool is a tool that is going to work for you and your teams to accomplish your goals. Try it. If it doesn't work, try something else and try another one. Working from home requires you to be over-communicative and having a clear set of expectations and solid communication strategy between you, your boss, your coworkers. It's key to mastering remote work. And let technology help you with that communication strategy. Let technology be your friend. It can be your best friend right now. There's chat apps like Slack, video conferencing apps like Zoom or WebEx. These are all great tools that help you interact with colleagues and also help you feel less isolated at home to maintain that connection, that relationship. And also you want to look at your generations in the workplace and leverage those generations to help each other. Technology can be a little bit overwhelming or scary, or perhaps you've implemented a new technology tool that was never in place a month ago, and maybe your baby boomers may be struggling a little bit to adapt to this new change in technology or how to use this, or now suddenly working from home. Again, leverage your younger generations, your millennials, who may be able to help, who may be able to offer a little bit of technical support, so to speak, or help everyone get set up. Again, let everyone help each other. Let's connect during this time. Let's leverage our strengths and be able to all help each other work through this. And lastly, another strategy for remote work is it's important to have a little fun. This was something that I shared on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, my conference call bingo. I was actually overwhelmed by the response I got. Think about it. How many conference calls have you been on lately, right? I mean, this is a daily occurrence, and it's actually kind of fun. The next conference call that you're on or that you happen to join, maybe a conference call bingo is in order. Maybe you play with yourself, and that's okay because we're all winners, or maybe it's something that you do with your team. Hi, who just joined, right? There is right there your space, and I think that's probably going to be your winner. But it's okay to poke a little fun of the world that we're living in right now, and I think it's important to laugh a little bit and see a little bit of humor in what's going on today. Another tip that we've implemented in my household, certainly, is that you need an imaginary coworker. Get an imaginary coworker to blame things on, right? I mean, it's your spouse, your pet, your children, whatever it is. Suddenly, you need to invent an imaginary coworker to bring a little bit of humor to your day. So in my household, it's Carol. And let me tell you, Carol just drives me nuts some days. But it's important to have Carol to blame things on because she leaves the coffee maker on. There's always dishes in the sink. And the thing that gets me the most is she prints a lot and she uses up all of the ink in my printer. And that really seems to bother me. So Carol, you know, is just one of those things, but it helps to have a little bit of humor and see the lighter side of this. Another way to have some fun with remote work is to find new ways to connect virtually. Having a virtual happy hour, virtual coffee, even team huddles. All of these things help bring us together. It's a little bit of fun at the end of the day, and it helps to combat that loneliness. Not everyone may be filled in a household with spouses and partners and families and children and things like that. So some may feel more isolated or lonely than others. So finding new ways that we can connect and actually have a little bit of fun can help relieve some of that stress, combat that loneliness, and again, bring us all together in new and unique ways that we haven't before. So we're looking at a new world, a new way of working, essentially a new team. We are really, truly, essentially looking at a new team. It's the same coworkers. We know these people. We may have worked with them before, but the team is new. The team is changing, it's adapting. There's new rules of how we work together, how we get things done. We're in team development all over again. We may have formed and stormed and normed and performed and adjourned before, and we may have been a great, high-performing, high-functioning team before this happened. But essentially, what has happened today, the world that we're living in, the remote and virtual work that we're performing, all of that has changed, and we are essentially right back in team development all over again. We're asking questions like, how do I fit in? How does this work? How do we work together? That's all normal in team development stages, and that's essentially what we're in. We're forming and storming right now. We are trying to figure it all out. We are trying to find ways to make this all work. It's normal what you're going through. It's challenging. No one ever said it would be easy. It helps to call it out. You're feeling disconnected? Well, because you are. Social distancing is a valid public health strategy, but it separates us. And as human beings, we are social creatures. During this challenging time of uncertainty, we may not be able to turn to the people we normally would and the people that we normally lean on. A work family is important now more than ever, and while we may not have the same type of relationship or the same norms that we had with that work family before, they're still there, and we need to be able to support each other. It's important now more than ever. And even though we're alone, but in this together. So how can we help our team? Businesses across the world are struggling. Millions of workers have instantly become remote workers. For the workers, for management, it presents a whole new set of challenges. And each individual's hardwired strengths and abilities determine how easy or how difficult it will be for them to work remotely and adapt to this change. This is crucial today more than ever. HR Boost is a proud partner with Bestwork Data. Bestwork Data helps answer the people questions you've always had, and their online experience and assessments measure those hardwired traits and abilities that determine how a person thinks, learns, and behaves, and now in a new way of thinking, behaving, and acting in a remote virtual environment. Bestwork Data has created reports to help facilitate this transition and relieve the stress that's an inevitable part of these things. These are free to our clients and also free to any company that requests them. We can help managers have a better understanding of how to manage this new style of workforce. And it's important that we offer these solutions to individuals and businesses to help them navigate through this difficult time. Data is key. And what can data do? Without data, teams are often mismatched. Communication can be a struggle. With data, teams are engineered to their strengths. Communication can be improved, even tailored to the individual. We can identify challenges. Knowing what those challenges are and what challenges people may face in a new environment, in a new remote environment, can actually help us identify ways to overcome those challenges and work together more efficiently. Data is powerful. The discovery of answers is empowering not only to individuals, but to teams and organizations as well. Looking at data can tell us how easily an individual may be able to adapt, learn, or perform in certain situations. Are you an individual who talks more or listens more? Do you seek interaction or avoid interaction? Are you fast at processing information, learning new things, For example, learning new ways of working, utilizing technology, and adapting to a new world of virtual remote work. Or perhaps you are slower to adapt, slower to accept those changes, or may just need more time to process and learn new things. Do you need all of the details up front, or can you manage on few details and be able to run with it? These are all critical factors looking at how individuals and teams adapt to a new environment of working from home, particularly now, especially right now during these times. What do you need to feel connected to your team, and how do you prefer to communicate? Data is powerful, and with data at hand, your team can continue to grow together, learn more about each other, learn ways to combine their talents to accomplish even greater goals. Teams can learn what each member brings to the team. And even though those teams have worked together before, again, this is a new team. We are in team development. We are forming and storming and trying to learn about each other in this new, unique environment. And so we will learn more about each other that we may not have realized before. We can assess strengths, and data can provide a complete picture of how to work together. At the same time, it enables each member of the team to explore and expand their individual potential. So by taking the free Best Work Data assessments, individuals can receive free access to the questionnaire, such as the sample report to the right. You can receive a free Remote Working for You and Managing Me Remotely reports. These are important because it gives you an insight into you, your strengths, how you adapt to these situations. And the Managing Me report is directly for you and your manager in finding new ways that you can work together, effectively saying, this is me, this is who I am, and this is how you can manage me remotely. That opens up the gateway for communication between an employee and a manager to understand how they're going to work together and how to manage effectively remotely. Businesses as well will receive some free information, access to their team members' completed questionnaire, as well as all reports for each team member and manager. Data provides a more complete picture of how we work together, and every business, big or small, should have access to data under human capital, benefits employees, as well as companies to save money, save time, work together collaboratively, and it certainly brings so many advantages by having that information. Additionally, now is the time to learn quick, fail fast, and celebrate success. We need to assess and reflect. It's a time to reflect on where do we want to be? Who do we want to be? What do we want to accomplish during this time? How can we thrive during this time? How can we set ourselves up for success now and in the future? How can we find new, innovative, and fun ways, even fun ways to work together to make the most of our virtual experiences? When this is over, so to speak, what will be the new normal? So many people have talked about returning to normal. What will that new normal look like? Well, frankly, I don't think things will go back to normal, so to speak. What does normal mean? I think fundamentally, the way that we're living and the times that we're going through will change a lot of things. So what will the new normal of work look like? Well, most likely it's going to be a blend of office and remote work. So the remote strategies we adapt today will still be important in the future of work, as remote work in some form is going to be here to stay for many companies. Today's coronavirus could permanently shift working patterns. Companies forced to embrace remote working by the pandemic may find that their employees do not want to return to the office once closures are lifted. They may find that employees were able to be so productive or efficient, or they've been able to save money on commute times. And from an office standpoint, perhaps their office isn't needed anymore. There may be a lot of light bulb moments that happen at the end of this that have forced companies that maybe reluctantly went into a new world of remote work and now all of a sudden are assessing there's some advantages that came from this. Embracing remote work and virtual collaboration is one of the most impactful things companies can do today. Together, we can find new ways to make the most out of virtual work experiences, navigating immediate disruptions like coronavirus outbreak, but also focusing on the longer term, the future of work and the future of remote teams. We may never again in our lifetimes experience such an opportunity to reshape the way in which we work and work gets done. Take advantage of this opportunity and make a positive change. In the spirit of togetherness and connection, let's connect. That's me, Katie Cummins. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. I would love to stay connected with you. At HR Boost, we can help. We're happy to talk through your questions to ensure you're well positioned to manage through the pandemic. HR Boost has developed a unique COVID-19 response package and webpage with materials, resources, and forms that businesses may need to address new legislation, expanded medical leaves, or even policies pertaining to if and when one of your employees tests positive for coronavirus. If it hasn't happened yet, it most likely will. So from policies to plans and everything else you may need, we have the resources and answers you're looking for. If you're interested in receiving the free remote work assessment through our partnership with Best Work Data, and I would certainly encourage you to do so, feel free to reach out and contact us, and we're happy to get that set up for you. We believe every team and business, big or small, should have the support to manage their people challenges. Let us give you the boost you need. Feel free to reach out anytime. We're always here, we're always on standby, and we always want to connect with you. Thank you for attending today's presentation. I hope you found the content helpful and informative. Stay safe and be well. Thank you.